Hi, it's Ray from Pro Shaper Sheet Metal in Charlton, Massachusetts, and today we're going to do some butt welding of 040 sheet metal, steel. This is commonly used in automotive sheet metal. 040 is called 19 gauge. Sometimes it's hard to get, but I'm able to get it here in Massachusetts. And it welds really nice, and we're welding it with a TIG welder, with an Everlast TIG welder with pulse. And I have been doing an ongoing series of the TIG welding examination, and this past weekend, I did a bunch of experiments, and I played around with settings, and I found out that using the pulse with a setting of 1, which I believe is 1 pulse per second, I got the best results, and it was astounding how good the results were. I just did a video on aluminum butt welding, and you might want to check that one out too. So today we're going to be doing just the steel 040, and what I found out is if on the aluminum we used a fusion process where we didn't add any rod whatsoever, and we got unbelievably good results. With the steel this past weekend, with my experiments, I found out I could get really good results with fusion on the steel as well, but what happens generally is you'll get a bunch of divots here and there, and I don't like any divots. I like perfect on both sides if possible. On steel, that's kind of hard to do perfect on both sides. Aluminum, it is definitely possible. I just proved it in this past little video I did. So what we're going to do on this is we're going to add rod, and I've got 030 rod, and one of the comments was, where do you get the 030 rod? Well, I deal with a company called Maine Oxy, which is up in Maine. They have distribution in Connecticut, Maine, and New Hampshire, I think, Massachusetts. And they're a really great company, and I just called them up and say, look, I need some 030 rod, get me 10 pounds. So 10 pounds, it costs a little bit of money, but that goes away eventually. So the 030 is a really nice TIG rod. It gives you a lot of ability to control it. I've actually tried to go thinner with my TIG rod, and it's just so thin that it kind of wanders around and stuff. So we're going to be using this 030, and I've cut the rod in half here. I have 2% lanthanated 3/32 tungsten. I've got a gas lens on here, and I'll show you the settings I have. We'll go to the welder front face here to see the settings. So it has a memory here, so I had it set up already with the pulsar on. So we'll go through the settings. I'm using 40 amps. It's 1 amp per the thickness of the metal. And then we got a 40 pulse time on, and 25 for the pulse amps, and 1 for the pulse frequency. I'm using 6 for the post flow, and 1.1 for the pre-flow, and we're back to 40. So we have the pulse on, and let me show you what that looks like. Now we're going to add that rod, because the rod guarantees that we're not going to have divots. We don't want any little undercuts or divots or anything. And when we add rod, generally you're going to have to do a little bit of grinding, but the bead is so small it's not that hard to clean it up. So I'm going to show a little bit, and instead of spending the time to go all the way across, we'll just finish up over here on camera, and then we'll grind it a little bit. So here we go. Here's the welding. Oh, I did these fusion tacks already. If you haven't seen the fusion tack process, in my other welding videos on the Pro Shaper channel on YouTube, there's plenty of them showing the fusion process of fusion welding, fusion tacking. So there you have it. You can actually get the bead a little bit smaller than that. Good amount of penetration there. And it's actually not too bad. There's not much divoting on the back side. So that's the example. We're going to be doing that all the way across. And we're going to only film this last bit over here. So, all right, so let me do this now. So I changed the plan a little bit. There's the weld with the added rod. I'm going to do fusion so we can compare it side by side. Now the fusion is going to look really, really nice, but we're going to probably get some divots on here. So I'll finish this with fusion. I just realized something, that that 1 pulse per second is the same as your heartbeat. It's like 60 heartbeats per minute. So you get a nice little cadence. It's like boom, 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 boom. You can almost hear your heart going along with the welding. So there's the fusion. It looks really, really good. You can see it's super easy cleanup on it. But I think we'll probably get a few divots. And then, the divots, if they're not too bad, I mean, you can go in there and fill the divots up later. And that means you don't have to do the grinding. But this grinding is very minimal. So that's what we're going to do off camera. Again, the grinding, I cover it in my other videos on my YouTube channel if you want to check out the proper way to grind. I might do a video on just grinding at some point. So let me clean this all up. First thing I do is wire brush all this fire scale off, then I grind it. Then we're going to power hammer it. So I'm going to go do the grinding now. Alright, so I wire brushed the panel. That's the front side. This is where we fusioned it, and this is where we added the 030 rod. Back side, there's a lot of divoting going on here. This is where the fusion was, but there's extra material here. It might drive down a little bit. This has some extra material and divoting, but this has a lot of extra material, so that'll all fill on both sides pretty nicely. So the next step is the grinding. We're going to grind that up. Okay, so I ground it up. I'm going to do a little bit of the hammering with just a hammer and dolly here. This is where we did the fusion welding here. And that's actually not looking too bad. The rest of it we'll put in the power hammer. We'll knock that down. We'll probably do a little bit of grinding still. Then we'll run it through the wheel, and then we'll do a torture test on it and show you that the weld is as strong as the parent metal. All right, so we'll crush it down in the power hammer. This isn't absolutely necessary, but because I got it here, it's easy to do rather than hammering it with the hammer and dolly. Alright, so now we're going to grind it one more time, and then we'll put it in the wheel. and do the torture test. Alright, so after we power hammered, I gave it a light grind with 50 grit, 3-inch Norton Blaze, and then followed up with an 80 on a 2-inch foam pad little grinder. This is the fusion side here, and this is the side where I added the rod. On the fusion side, there's a couple, 1, 2 little tiny divots. It's the top side. On the rod side, there's nothing. It's perfect. The panel is very nice. And then your back side, that's the fusion. On the back side, there's a whole bunch of little tiny divots here. There's a few on this side here, but there's much more on the side that I fusioned it. So both sides are very nice as far as appearance goes. Especially the rod side has nothing, so it's absolutely perfect. You can see just a minute or so, and it's starting to polish up just like chrome plate. So we'll go over there and hit it on the beater bag and see how strong that weld joint is. This is the fusion side here, and this is the rod side, so we'll hit them both. Fusion first. That was the fusion. So they passed with flying colors, both sides. Perfect results. Aesthetically looking perfect, and also functionally strong as the parent metal. Now somebody suggested I try MIG welding as well. That's something I haven't done in years and years and years, especially on a butt weld. And a lot of people in restoration do use MIG welding. I would suggest switching, but I'll keep an open mind to it. And in a further date, some other date, we'll do a butt weld with a MIG and see what kind of results we get. So the people out there who are MIG welding, maybe they might get convinced to buy a TIG welder. So it's Ray from Pro Shaper. Hope you learned something. Thank you.